All right, talking football. Bobby here with Justin. 4-pack. We got 4 topics we're going to go through. I want to get right into it, Justin. I don't want to do the hey, how you doing? But how are you doing? And ever since you became a part of like the Bucs hype train, they have sucked.
Yikes. Yeah. Not a good game against the Giants. Not a good game against the G. But we didn't have an episode last week, so we didn't get a chance to cover how the Bucs did against the Giants. Not that we would cover that anyway. But yeah, it's either Patrick Graham kind of uncovered a little something for the Bucs offense, but also week 1 against the Bucs, the Saints absolutely destroyed them. And it's not a good sign, especially for the Bucs offense, that they were not able to get anything sustainable going. But also, whatever they're cooking up on the defensive side of the ball as well, or at least on the Saints offense, that's working. And it worked for the second game, which that's a huge test to see within these divisional games. Can your offense and what you did week 1, can it sustain itself with that second matchup? And I think this is obviously even more of an ass kicking than compared to week 1.
Yeah, I mean, on the Saints side of things, one, like Taysom Hill, people make fun of Taysom Hill because he gets overrated. But in this game, he had 8 touches, whether it was carrying the ball or receiving, for 75 yards. That's basically 10 yards per catch. And then he did have, it was in the end of the game, but two passes for 48 yards. And they just kind of spread the ball around. It wasn't all to Michael Thomas. Like Breeze did what he did best, and it's like surveyed and spread the ball around and kind of hit this Bucs defense and shocked them. And then on the other side, Marshawn Lattimore has Mike Evans' number. Like he just gets these targets, and he can't play good against Marshawn Lattimore. I don't know if it's in his head or what. And then you have Janoris Jenkins, who we know very well. He's a solid corner on the other side. And they had like Hendrickson, the guy who looks like a long snapper. He's getting there. Like they have guys that can get there too. So, I mean, I don't know what, but even with that, to have 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 3 points, they only ran the ball 4 times. I don't know how. I thought the Saints were going to win this game, but I don't know how they came in and just stopped. And I think it was a lot of like, hey, we're going to try and force them to get vertical. And I'm not a Tom Brady hater at all. I really am not. But you even saw it in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. His arm has not been the same the last few years. Doesn't mean he can't get the ball downfield, but he has not had the same velocity and arm strength the past few years. Doesn't mean, like I said, doesn't mean he's not taking shots, because he has been taking shots, but it's not the same. And you could just tell it's like, hey, we're going to force you to get the ball downfield. And it just flat out didn't work. And like, I don't think this should be a panic for the Bucs, but I mean, they just got actually, it is a panic. You just got flat out smoked on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah. And the fact that this is for the 3rd time this year, all 3 of their losses, because they're 5-3, 6-3, 6-3. They're 6-3, and all 3 of their losses have been bad losses to 2 good teams. 2 losses to the Saints. No, they blew out the Packers. Excuse me. Where is their other loss coming from? Lost to the Bears by 1 point on Thursday Night Football.
They did. They lost to the Bears. So, I don't know. I don't know. Like X's and O's. Like, what's the issue? But man, like they has been three times. The first game, the offense didn't look horrible, but it surely didn't look good. But it was also like a first game getting warm up, where this offense just doesn't like have some struggles. Like it looks flat out bad. Like it looked bad against the Bears, and then obviously, yesterday was the worst game of Tom Brady's entire career.
Yeah, you bring up a good point about Brady's arm, because that was the main reason why I was kind of anti Tom Brady, and I've talked on this show about, hey, I think I kind of have to eat crow on Tom Brady, and I still think like Tom Brady's fine. I still think this Bucs offense is fine, and I think you just said that too. But the film and the track record of Brady's arm being limited and what he can do with the football in his hands, it's there. I mean, father time catches up with everybody. And the fact that Brady is as old as he is, and he's still slinging it the way that he is, I think he's slinging it better than Drew Brees. It's just that Sean Payton could very well be, and probably is, definitely is, Super Bowl winning offensive mind, better offensive mind than Bruce Arians is. And also the way that they're using Taysom Hill as well. So nevertheless, like my whole kind of big point about the Bucs and including this with the Saints as well, there aren't like a ton of elite teams in the National Football League right now. There's not. Because even the Saints have given inconsistent performances, and now this second matchup that the Bucs had against the Saints, it's bad. It's a bad look.
I know. I think the Chiefs are in that elite. Like it's kind of they let teams stay in it. But I will say, how about Jameis? Good to see Jameis out there against Tampa, eating W's. I mean, going off after the game, that was some fun stuff. So
is that what
Saints,
you're doing off camera? You were eating you were licking your
I forgot that I wasn't on camera. I was eating a W.
Yeah. Nice.
I don't do it as smooth as Jameis. I went back and watched the original video of that and all-time video. Like everyone's like, what? Like what? Speaking of what? Seattle's defense. They lose to the Bills 44-34. Russell Wilson has been playing well, but he's kind of come down to earth on the season right now. He's got 28 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. They're still averaging 350 yards per game.
He has 28 touchdowns.
I know.
Just over half a season.
Yeah, he's on. I mean, he's close to record pace. He's close. He's not on record pace, but he's close to record pace.
Yeah, he's come down a little.
But their defense is giving up 30.4 points per game. We said this earlier in the year, where it's like, hey, the Seahawks defense fools everyone to thinking like this, like these certain teams have good offenses, like the Patriots, where it's like, no, it's like the Seahawks are a good team because of their offense is so good, but their defense is fooling like other teams and thinking their offense is good. And honestly, they can't win a Super Bowl like this. They cannot win a Super Bowl with their defense like this. I don't care how well Russell Wilson plays. Playoff defenses ramp up stuff. And this year, if they don't get the 1 seed, you have 4 games you have to win. And that defense is not going to win 4 playoff games in a row. It's just not going to happen.
The Bills had a very successful game on the ground the previous week. So that led Pete Carroll and coaching staff to believe, they're going to come out and they're going to try to establish the run. Well, Seahawks are actually a top 10, near top 5 rush defense in the National Football League, but they're bottom 3 in terms of their efficiency in pass defense. So Pete Carroll, I don't know where he kind of got this kind of mindset that the Bills were really going to come out and try to run the ball down the Seahawks' throats when Josh Allen has been slinging it at times this year. And when the Bills have honestly looked their best, it's when they've been in shootouts. And it's when Josh Allen has kind of had to do it all while incorporating a lot of weapons that they've had on that offense. But at one point, here was the play selection with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Here was the play selection for the Buffalo Bills against the Seahawks. And this is more or less a mindset about what you're going to do against the Seahawks. 5 rush plays for 24 yards, 35 pass plays for 302 yards. That's insane. 35 passing attempts versus 5 in the middle of the third quarter. And the Bills were winning by 10 at that point, by the way. So they were not letting their foot off the gas. You can't let your foot off the gas when you're playing a team like the Seahawks because you blink and they will come back. Russell Wilson will come back. But Bobby, you're right. You are totally right. No matter how much the NFL is a quarterback-driven league, we've seen it with the Seahawks team in years past, where in a way they've been playing a very similar style of football, except now that Russell Wilson is throwing the ball in the first quarter instead of them getting behind in games in the first quarter and then having to play catch up. So they are playing a similar type of football.
Yeah. And so like Russell Wilson is averaging 350 yards per game. Per attempt, he's averaging 8.6 yards per attempt. That's elite. The Seahawks defense is giving up 8.1 yards per attempt. So it's like everything that Russell Wilson is doing, the other team's quarterbacks are doing. Now they only have 16, less touchdowns and more interceptions, but nonetheless, it is what it is. And Jamal Adams is getting into it with Pete Carroll on the sideline. I mean, that defense, it's
shocker.
It's a mess. And honestly, the Cards and the Rams are both 5-3 behind them. The Cards and the Cardinals beat them. I don't think they've played the Rams yet.
The Rams, Sean McVay has had the Seahawks number.
Even last year.
The amount of points that offense has put up through the last couple of years has been insane. I mean, we want to talk about Sean Payton coming up with the game plan against the Bucs and just doing well against the Bucs. even Brian, didn't Brian Flores have Sean McVay's number 2? This stems back to the Super Bowl as well when he was with the Patriots. So, but Sean McVay clearly has something for the NFC West team in Seattle Seahawks. He clearly has something up his sleeve offensively that they always will put up a lot of points.
Yeah. So, who do the Seahawks play this week?
I believe it's the Los Angeles Rams.
That's the game to watch. That's the game to watch right there. A game to watch this past week was from that division, Cardinals and Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins are in the division, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So, Tua's first game, obviously, like we were meant to talk about the Rams and Dolphins, the defense went crazy. Tua had 92 yards. But in this game, man, Tua came out and they were trading blows, and then the Cardinals missed a kick at the end. The game was over. But, I mean, Tua in this game had 20 for 28, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. I mean, he was solid. He ran the ball pretty well, 7 carries for 35 yards, making plays with his legs.
Mm-hmm.
But this Dolphins team, man, like right now they are in the playoffs. One of their losses was against the Patriots in that first game of that, heavy read option. So it's like I would take them against the Patriots in the next game. The second loss of the season when they started 0-2 was the Bills. Like and the Bills, Josh Allen playing, like we're talking about playing at an MVP level at that time. Like it was a comeback win in the fourth quarter. So they can fight, like they can compete with anybody. I mean, and now they're on a 4-game win streak at 5-3. They put Tua in. It was at first I was a little hesitant, like why you like benching Ryan Fitzpatrick after some wins, but then I was like, you know what, they're the ones in the building, so why am I going to question it too much? But I mean, to outscore this Cardinals team, and look on the other side, like the Miami defense, who has been pretty good all year, wasn't good in this game. Kyler had his best game of the year, 21 for 26, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. 0 interceptions, had another 100 yards on the ground with a touchdown. I mean, to win a game like that, that's a team that is well coached. That's a team that is making strides and steps where you get the best shot from the other team and you pull it out.
Yeah, Tua had really an incredible game. I mean, for a first official start, he had a first official start last week, but he was not necessarily involved in the direct outcome of the win, which in a way, I guess if you want to paint what your first win looks like, get the butterflies out, get the pregame ritual out, and now you're the starter, so let's rock and roll. But Tua really had an incredible game. His intended air yards, his average air yards in terms of when he's throwing the ball, it was almost 9.5 yards. It was 9.4 yards. So he was not a dink and dunk guy. His CPOE, completion percentage over expected, which is basically measuring how accurate is a quarterback being compared to what they are expected to complete and what the passes that they are basically expected to complete. How accurate are they being? Tua was second in the weekend with a positive 15 CPOE, second behind Kyler Murray. So both quarterbacks were really dueling in this game, and Tua came out on top. Didn't force any mistakes, was really showed nice pocket mobility, showed really nice chemistry and connection with some of his wide receivers and skill position guys through a couple back shoulder throws. I mean, that's high level veteran stuff that he showed in just his second game, but really the first game where he really got the opportunity to throw the ball.
My issue is, as a left-handed person, I can't get used to him being left-handed. It's
looks
weird.
Funky.
Like it looks like he's backwards in the pocket. Like looks like, oh, they're doing some type of opposite side rollout, and then it's like, oh, he's just left-handed. I wonder if that's weird for the defenses. Like the guy on the other side. I'm not used to looking at the blind side of.
I wonder if it's timing for wide receivers, and how fast does the ball get there?
Different spiral.
Does it impact? I don't know. I'm just a simple-minded fan, but it does look funky. Looks very, very funky. But also the thing
Brian
with
Flores, coach of the year.
The thing we could be talking about it, and we'll get to the Dolphins schedule that they have upcoming, because right now they're 5-3. They could realistically win 10 games to finish off the season and win the AFC East. Could they?
Yeah.
No. They could.
If they beat the Bills in their matchup, why not?
Yeah, and the Bills
defense
have
been beatable this year.
Yeah, so they have a chance to go out and win the AFC East, get that home playoff game. But what was I saying? Brian Flores, head coach of the year. But I don't know if it's the problem with Fitzpatrick is his consistency. and I feel a sneeze coming on.
Let's
Oh
do it.
boy.
I want it. I want it in.
Oh
I
no, it's
want it
bad.
in there.
No, it's gone. It's gone. But
Son of a bitch.
the problem with Fitzpatrick has been his consistency, and clearly they feel that Tua can probably, most likely, hopefully, bring that consistency. He's going to have a rookie game eventually. It's just a matter of if that rookie game can be only one game, and if he does, and if doesn't string those together. But here's Miami's schedule from here on out: Los Angeles Chargers. We're going to be talking about them.
Today?
No, we are not talking about them.
Oh,
I
got me
teased it.
worried.
I teased it. Maybe we're going to talk about it next week. That is, Los Angeles Chargers are the honorable mention of the 4-pack. They would be the 5th pack. The Denver
Yeah,
Broncos.
they're like, hey man, you're having a little too many tonight, you know.
Yeah. Denver Broncos, definitely a winnable game. New York Jets, definitely a winnable game. At home versus the Bengals, definitely a winnable game. Kansas City, New England, definitely a winnable game. Las Vegas, toss up. Buffalo, week 17, gonna be must watch. So they could get 10, 11 wins.
Yeah, they definitely could. So yeah, Dolphins are exciting. Miami Dolphins #1. All right, let's finish it off. Let's finish off the 4th pack. Let's get our buzz on. Let's talk about the AFC South. And I don't really want to go deep dive in this. The Titans are now 6-2. The Colts are 5-3. Here's my take on this division. I like both these teams. And I kind of wanted to be like, I think the Colts can win this division. I think the Colts can win, can beat the Titans, and I think they could beat them like pretty nicely. They do play this Thursday night, so that's going to be a very interesting Thursday night football game. That being said, where I stand at with this division is I don't see the Colts beating the top teams. I don't, in the playoffs or I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't see them beating the Chiefs in the playoffs. I don't see them beating the Steelers in the playoffs. But I do like the Titans. I see they have that ability to go toe to toe with anybody. They're coming off an AFC Championship year. That offense to me can go toe to toe with anybody. And as much as the defense hasn't been great, they do have some playmakers out there too. So it's one of those defenses that could step up in the playoffs. And on the Colts side, I do like this Colts team, man, but I just don't trust Phillip Rivers in that offense to like be a playoff offense. And I love their defense. I love their defensive coordinator, Eberflus, but I just don't know if they have that one guy. You know what I mean?
Darius Leonard made some really eye-opening plays against Lamar Jackson, really tried to keep the Colts in that game versus the Ravens this past weekend. But yeah, Bobby, it's kind of strange because you have kind of a tale of two teams right now. The Titans defense, while they have some playmakers, and it's kind of shocking and surprising to see how the Titans defense is not, I wouldn't say holding back the team, but I think that's the biggest question mark. If there's one thing that the Titans can't afford to do is they can't afford to be bad defensively, because I don't know, can Ryan Tannehill be a shootout quarterback? I mean, he has been so good. He has been so good, but you also have the complement of the running game. What are you doing or what are you not doing when you're behind in games? You're not running the ball. So that takes away what the Titans offense is very, very good at, and that is running the ball, especially when they have a lead or if the game is close. But the Colts, on the other hand, their defense is very, very strong. It's a top 5 unit. I think this has been a very underrated unit. And with some teams like the Bucs falling out of the top 3, top 2 for efficiency metrics, the Bears have lost a few games. I think the Colts have kind of creeped up in there in terms of, hey, let's get some recognition. This sneeze is just staying with me. It's terrible. But I'm excited for this Thursday night game. Colts, they need more offensive weapons. Titans, they need a little bit more consistency on defense.
Good stuff. So pick to win the division. Titans, right?
Yes,
Do you still have Titans in like that top 5 range of the AFC?
I would have to really think about it. I say yes because I side offense more with offensive potential more than defense. So I think defenses will be able to figure it out as time kind of goes on.
Yeah, that's definitely like defenses catch up with offenses as the year goes on. With Mike Vrabel as that coach and having some playmakers on the defense, I do see that defense by the end of the year being a respectable defense. Not dominant, but a respectable defense. So, all right, that's Talking Football. Subscribe, like, comment saying, "Where's the O-line report?" It'll be out in like 3 hours. See you guys.